Each of us humans have our own perspectives on life, and we perceive things differently from one another. That is an established fact that is known to almost all people, and it serves as a basis for how we think of and interact with others. It can also be expanded to explain what is real and what is not. Going by the simple logic of anything that physically exists in the form of matter is thus considered to be real.
But that doesn't explain what happens in our own minds. Our thoughts and opinions don't physically exist, do they? You could say that they're just chemicals and electrical pulses, but how are they anything more than that? At least as far as physics are concerned.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
So if that means our thoughts and opinions aren't real, then what is?
And that is where we introduce the concept of objective and subjective reality. Because there really isn't an answer to that question. Our senses are far from perfect, and we truly do not experience reality, or more specifically, objective reality. Let's explain my logic.
But it wasn't real. Your mind makes it real.
You are a conscious critter. You are aware of yourself as a distinct entity. We humans are all conscious critters, with varying degrees of self-awareness. All of our experiences are filtered through our consciousness for interpretation, evaluation, and response. Therefore, the only way we are capable of knowing reality is through the mediation of our consciousness, that is, subjectively. Subjective reality makes one distinct change in that outlook with broad sweeping impact though. Objective reality is very much like the concept of the matrix. You can remove yourself from what's in your head, and then there is the universe left. We are governed by the laws of the universe. The universe contains your reality. Here is the subtle difference, and it's quick, so pay attention. In subjective reality, you create everything. Everything including the universe is created from, is inside of your conscience. It is your reality, or on deeper investigation you are your reality.
Objective reality is, simply, objects. Any physical construct that consists of a force or matter, but using my previous logic, thoughts and opinions don't quite fit into that. While we can say they technically consist of these chemicals and impulses, they truly aren't much more than that. And that is subjective reality. Subjective is the reality we experience through our senses, which often have faults and imperfections.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
And this brings into question things like, say, schizophrenia, or hallucinations you have while inadvisably sleep-deprived. In many cases, you don't actually know these aren't considered real. But why not? Take Tolpe, for example. Tolpe, in the simplest of definitions, are basically an imaginary friend that has achieved independent thought and consciousness. Subjects like these have led to great controversy, and there simply isn't any scientific conclusion that proves or disproves them. But that's the point. Despite the fact it can't be proven, what's to say it isn't real?
Is this all real? Or is it just happening inside my head?
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
Like I said earlier, our senses often have problems. We have limits, flaws, inconsistencies, and other issues in our perception of the world. What this means is that we do not truly experience the objective reality, and from an individual standpoint, we only experience subjective reality, nothing else.
Ignorance is bliss.
And that extends my previous points. Since we truly don't experience objective reality, what says these subjective experiences aren't any less real than your clothes? But it is important not to lose hold of the limited perception you do have of the objectivity in the world. You can self-induce hallucinations all you want, but it is safe to say that too much subjectivity can be detrimental to your mental well-being.
Now remember that this is all theoretical. There isn't much to this topic we can actually prove, not even the existence of other people's consciousness.
For example, subjective reality solves the problem of other minds by saying that there aren't any other minds. We just think there are. And this also explains why we do not have direct access to the minds of others like through MindNow or some technology, because there's nothing there to access except ourselves.
So before you point any fingers and call us insane, remember that we never agreed or disagreed with anything. There's much to be studied within this subject, but very few can truly be proven past the subjective reality that we know. Remember, this is all subjective and your opinions on the matter are entirely up to you. We may or may not be insane, but that depends on your subjective definition of sanity. We do not believe in a true physical state of insane versus sane, nor do we believe normal is anything further than a concept fabricated by a human society to push conformity. And lastly, it is not an opinion but an established fact that Joe is not and will never be Blue's real owner.
This has been a collaborative presentation for Miss Eamon's psychology class at George Ranch High School. Don and I put forth a lot of effort into this project, and I hope you enjoyed this pile of video compression. Hopefully our theoretical insanity wasn't too extreme for those of you watching, because this project has been a lot of fun. A word search has been provided. Feel free to test your powers against the evils of Comic Sans and JPEG artifacts. I'd also appreciate it if you checked out my YouTube channel. I'm an aspiring music producer with several released songs already, and I also DJ every Saturday on Ponyville FM from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Time. Lastly, I'd like to give out special thanks to all of my close friends and acquaintances. Without you crazy weirdos, I would not be the person I am today. Thanks for watching.